Hello, everyone. My guest today is David de Jong. He's the founder and partner of Screen6 and has been closely involved in the development of innovation regarding the latest technologies for online marketing and advertising. David, are you ready to take us to the top?
Yeah, indeed. I'm here.
All right.
What do you want to know?
Get specific for me. What does Screen6 do and how do you make money?
How do we make money? Good question. And what do we do? Well, let me start at the beginning. We focus on identity resolution in digital advertising, which essentially means that we are a company that works for other technology companies in our ecosystem, and we inform them what devices belong to which users. So imagine, for example, 20 years ago, you, Nathan, you might have had one laptop at home, which was shared across your whole family. It was pretty easy for an advertiser to track usage there, right? Like cookies and stuff. They needed just one cookie to track. Nowadays, everyone has many digital and connected devices, mobile, desktop, tablet, in-app, etc., and even smart televisions. What Screen6 does is we connect all the different identities to individuals, therefore informing our clients what their consumers are doing across devices and across media verticals.
Okay, and so how is this different than like a Clearbit or a full contact or these kinds of companies?
I'm assuming, actually, I don't know these companies. I'm assuming these companies, they focus more on the marketing or the CRM side of this business.
Well, they do. Yeah, I just saw on my research team noted that on your website, you talk about your new features, CRM onboarding, campaign analytics, UTT connectivity. I mean, those companies I just mentioned do a lot of like, hey, give us an IP address or give us a domain name and we'll tell you all the information about the people on these kinds of companies. But you're not doing that.
No, I guess those are more like census-based, and they're using the IP to abstract some information about the household potentially. What we do is more individually focused. So it's more for display advertising use cases, for example, where you're showing a banner to someone and you would like to know whether you've already exposed this person, yes or no, whether they might have already converted with you, or whether they have a specific profile that you might have some historical knowledge on.
And how do you charge? Is it a pure SaaS play?
It's pure SaaS play indeed.
Okay, so what do people pay you on average per month, would you say?
I would say that's about 20 to 25K a month.
Okay, so you're very much in the enterprise range.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
We are.
Give us more of the backstory. When did you launch the company?
We launched the company about 4 years and a half ago. We is my co-founder, who's actually also the CTO, and myself. We've been entrepreneurs, also doing our previous business together for about 12 years now.
What happened to that one?
We sold it.
Good outcome or not?
Well,
be honest.
At that time, it was a good outcome. Yes, I think we could have been able to continue for a short while and might be able to leverage a bit more what we know right now. But you know what? Hindsight, 2020, etc. It doesn't help us at all. I have no regrets.
What was the size of that? What was the size of that company in terms of revenue before you sold it?
ARR about 1.6 or 1.8 million.
Okay, so
MRR.
MRR. Yeah. Got it. So you were doing what, north of 20 million a year?
We were doing, wow, this is 2010. No, mid tens.
Okay. And when you say that you could have done better, I mean, are you just saying like the multiple you got on ARR, you think you could have, done it yourself a bit longer and gotten a better deal there? Or what do you mean by that?
Yeah, I think that's about right. We were focused not so much on global expansion. We were not focused on funding the company. We were basically growing our business organically.
It was bootstrapped.
It was indeed.
Wow.
As our current company, most of, let's say, we have a bit of seed funding in our current company as well.
How much total funding in the current company?
600K.
Okay. So basically bootstrapped. Now, that first company you guys worked together on, were you guys the only two founders? You just split it 50-50 or no, it was different?
No, it was actually my co-founders. Well, he had a company before this, a creative firm. And the business that we run before this was a technology that they developed within this the creative company, and they couldn't really spin it off, right? They were charging hours to their clients, but this was a SaaS model.
Yep.
So it didn't really, didn't interact with their internal challenges and the way they set up.
So when you sold it, they sell the tech and the agency, or just the tech?
not just the tech, because it was spun off already.
Okay.
A couple of years before.
Okay. I mean, but that seems like, I mean, it was a pretty significant financial event for you. If I'm doing the math, there's two of you and you have 50-50-ish and you sell it for, call it 10 or 20 or 30 million bucks. It's still a pretty meaningful event for you.
Let's say it could have been better than what you're saying now.
All right, good. Tell me about the current company. So there's two of you. Now, did you split this one 50-50 or how'd you have the tough equity conversation?
We have this seed investment as well, but it's 50-50 between the two of us, yes.
Okay,
the part that we retain, yeah.
So it's what, it's exactly. Like 40-40-20 or something like that, whatever the seed people took?
Yeah. It's commas and dots, but yes.
Yeah. Okay, very good. And so you took the seed funding, and then where are you today? So obviously you launched about in 2013-ish. Where are you today in terms of total customers using the platform?
Yeah, we are in the 20s now in terms of clients.
Okay.
We started indeed a couple of years ago, but what is interesting is that the company might exist for about 4 years and a half now, but we kind of pivoted halfway. So we started the business focusing on cross-device as well, but became a more service-oriented, a campaign-oriented business model where we were selling to agencies and brands, and we pivoted towards a business model where we are servicing SaaS companies and technology companies.
Right, but I mean, it sounds like you've scaled. I mean, 20 customers paying 25 grand per month puts you at about 500 grand in MRR. Or is that generally accurate?
I'm calculating. I want to give you a good number. It's about 2/3 of that.
Okay, got it. So we have some
legacy. We have some legacy companies still some legacy clients from the early days.
Got it. So you're doing about 350K a month right now.
Yeah.
Okay, and what is that up from? If you go back and look at 12 months ago in December, at the end of December 2016, what were you doing then?
We were doing about 40% less. We did grow pretty good over the year, but we also had some struggles during last year, where one of our companies filed for bankruptcy, which led us basically that was a pretty big disappointment.
Did that company make up more or less than 10% of your total revenue?
Yes, they did.
More?
At that time, yeah. They did about 10% of them at that time revenue.
Yeah, so that's why it was tough for you guys. You had to figure out how to replace that revenue pretty quickly.
Yeah, we were expecting, of course, that revenue during the year, and we were already investing on top of that. And then, once of a sudden they fade away and they take a big loss in unpaid bills, and of course, all the future revenue is not coming as well. So that's a loss for us. Sorry. And then also what is happening in our industry, and that's something that happens all the time in ed tech or marketing technology, consolidation between companies. So we might have two clients today, but if one buys the other, then you're left with one client, and they're obviously not going to pay the sum of that was the previous amount paid because of the SaaS model.
What's your annual logo churn?
Logo churn? That you mean how many clients are leaving us, or? It's a term I don't know, so I'm just guessing.
No, that's okay. Well, I don't want you to make something up. What do you measure in terms of churn? Do you measure dollar churn or logo churn? What do you measure?
We measure indeed what you say, logo to churn. So it's about 10%
annually.
Of churn. See, yeah.
Okay, I mean that's not bad. That's pretty healthy. What is in terms of acquiring these customers? I imagine it's pretty high touch. What are you paying to acquire them? Do you know?
I can check this exactly because we have the whole. Let's say it takes us about 3 months or so to earn back the client, so about 100K more or less.
Yeah, so you're spending about 100K to acquire the customer. It's taking you 3 months to essentially earn that back if they're paying 25 or 30 grand per month, and that's your current kind of money velocity.
Yeah, so that's basically 4 months actually. It takes 4 months to emit it. Yeah,
that's healthy. And then what do you assume lifetime value is on these customers? Do you have a good sense of that or no?
Not yet, because we are still scaling, and no, I can't say for sure. Of course, we can calculate with the churn and the growth that every client does, but in a company that has like 20, 25 clients or so, it's very difficult for us to predict the lifetime value.
Or it just lies to you. Like if we just calculated yours based off how some people calculate it, you would take 1 divided by your monthly churn, right, which is 1%. So they stay with you 100 months, and if they pay 25 grand a month on average, it's 2.5 million in LTV, but that can be deceiving.
I think that the math could work, but in actuality, it might not work out that well. As you know, in smaller companies, when you didn't yet achieve a certain level of revenue, it's very difficult to predict.
What's your team size today?
We are 18 people at the moment.
Okay, based where mostly?
Amsterdam mostly.
Okay, Amsterdam, good.
And we have a team in New York as well.
Okay, Amsterdam and New York City, good. And then how do you make decisions around when to raise capital or not? So you've raised, for the size you've actually done a good job at really not raising that much capital. How do you make decisions around that?
Well, there's so many things that influence me and my co-founder and also the board making these decisions. A lot is gut feeling. I think that we can create Excels and we can create budgets and predict what amount of money we need to sustain a certain growth and then, for example, multiply it by 2 and try to raise that amount of money, right? And that, I think if we'll raise, which will likely happen in this year, we'll make that assumption, as I just said. So we're looking for investments, like what do we need to invest in, like marketing, sales, technology as well.
So what, you think you'll raise like 5 million-ish?
I can't, it's not set in stone, but I think somewhere in the 5 million range makes sense.
Yeah. And then obviously you're overseas, so I'm curious what the investing environment is like over there. What valuation do you think you'd be able to get if you raise 5 million? Or maybe let me ask this differently, because instead of trying to predict the future, I mean, how do you value the company today?
I value the company today somewhere in the high 20s to 30s.
Okay, got it. So approximately 4.5 or 5x ARR.
Yeah. Made the calculation for me. Thanks.
Yeah. Good. All right, good stuff. Let's wrap up here, David, with the famous 5 one-word answers here. Number
It's Masters of Scale, which is actually not a business book, it's a podcast.
It's a good one, though. All right, number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying right now?
It's a CTO, Werner Vogels, the CTO of Amazon.
Okay, CTO of Amazon. Number 3, is there a favorite online tool you have besides your own?
Google Docs.
Google Docs. All right. Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
I wish it were 8. It's more like 5.
Okay, and what's your situation? Obviously, you have 1 kiddo, but married, single. How many kids do you have?
I have 3 kids.
3 kids. Married?
3, 5, and 7.
3, 5, 7.
Married, yes.
And how old are you?
Entrepreneur. So 3, 5, and 7 years old.
How old are you?
Oh, 35. Sorry.
35. Last question. Take us back to your 20-year-old self. What do you wish he knew?
Ask questions. Don't expect answers. Expect more questions.
There you guys have it from David. Ask questions and just expect more questions on top of those. He had an okay exit with his first company, launched this new one in 2013 with his friend. Obviously, they split the equity down the middle. And then obviously the seed investors that put in 600 grand own the other part. They have 20 customers they're serving today via Screen 6. Again, a data play, a UTT tracking, things like that. Again, growing quickly, about 40% year over year. They're doing about 350 grand a month right now in revenue. Less than 1% logo churn monthly. CAC is about 100 grand and they get paid back in about 4 months. David, thank you for taking us to the top.
Thank you so much, Nate. And if there's any more questions you have, please do let me know.